My Two Hans should absolutely be the name of a skit show, right?
2.5 Hans.
2.5 Hans is also
That's
very
what I
good.
said when you were like, I can't hear Ben.
Well, it's even better because it's like My Two Hans, and then it's just Harrison Ford for 25 minutes an episode, just like, who the hell are you?
You didn't play Han Solo.
You don't look like me. Do you know how to fly a plane? No, well, neither do I.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, Return of the Jedi. Ben, how was your watch?
It was good. I have a rant this week.
Fantastic. Chris, how was your watch?
I sat stone-faced for this whole movie, just letting it happen as I sat going, it's not bad, but it's not good. I'm not enjoying watching it. It's just
It's not
a
bad.
thing.
I'm just suffering.
I'm just here as it's happening. I just sat stone-faced for the whole experience until the end when Vader picks up Palpatine and throws him. At that point, I fucking lost my shit and laughed for 5 minutes straight for some reason, because that whole scene just makes me laugh every time now.
Every time I see that scene now, I think of the bit. We've brought this segment up on the show like 3 times now, but the video about Palpatine surviving and laying on a rock for 40 years.
Yep.
I think of the beginning of that video where Palpatine's just like, is this Vader? Is this a bit you're doing? Are we doing a bit?
Cool? Are we cool? Is this a bit you're doing?
Are we cool? Is this a bit you're doing?
My favorite thing is we referenced that 9 weeks ago, and I never saw the video. Apparently, I thought that was just you guys riffing.
No.
And then I found a video. I found that video
Yeah.
and I shared it with you guys, and you guys are like, "Yeah, this is what we were talking about." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I thought the public subconscious just like brought that to 2 different.
We spawned it out into the universe from our brains.
My watch has finally come back around. I'm through almost all of the kids' albums, and I'm through the venue music. I'm back around, baby. I'm back. It's
Such a silly structure of a sentence. I've gotten out of the venue and children's albums.
There's one children's album left, but it's short.
That's another one for the out of context quotes.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back and better than ever. The They Might Be Giants rotation rolls on.
Do you have any highlights?
Yes, I have many highlights.
At least to kick us off.
I have many highlights. The Choo Choo Express song from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse played over the decarbonation scene.
Man, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse really is the gift that just keeps on giving.
I just never thought on our podcast I'd hear the Choo Choo Express song from Mickey Mouse Club.
Well, the wonderful thing is we've referenced a lot of weird shows through the They Might Be Giants thing. We referenced Malcolm in the Middle. We referenced Sky High. Oh, there's another Disney song that was played during this one, but it didn't play an important part, so I don't remember. We've referenced all kinds of weird shit this rotation just because They Might Be Giants is everywhere. The song I Am a Paleontologist plays over the Rancor fight, which is great because it talks about being chomped to death by giant jaws, which was fantastic. Side note, the owner of the Rancor cries right after the child. The song says, "Is it a T-Rex?" Which was deeply funny to me. Just like a child going, "Is this the T-Rex?" And then this large man turning around and just sobbing immediately after. Fantastic. The song "Electric Car" played over the barge scene, the barge finding itself in the middle of the desert. What is a Shooting Star played over the Palp's arrival on the Death Star. It's a song about explaining what a shooting star is. By the way, the first half of this episode revolved around They Might Be Giants science child's album, which is just them explaining various things through science, which is about half the episode, but it was fantastic because it was a little more interesting than learning your 1, 2, 3s or ABCs. Anyway, it worked really well because it had this grim feel to it, and the song ended just as it switched to Yoda giving up. The song "Why Does the Sun Doesn't Shine?" What?
Just right after Yoda just gave up.
It just gives up.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Gave up. I mean, that's what happens. Yoda
He
just
really
gives
It's
does.
up.
accurate. It's
That's
funny
why I'm
because it's accurate.
That's why I'm resistant to comparing it to like Obi-Wan dying, because it's him very clearly giving the others time, or like Luke dying because that's him. Yoda is just like, I'm ready to die, dude.
Yeah, it's time for
I'm
the long
tired.
sleep. It doesn't have to be though. I feel like this is a conscious choice you're making.
You're not
Yoda,
dying to
is this a
natural
bit
causes.
is this a bit you're doing, or are you going to die?
Yoda, is this a bit you're doing?
Yoda, is this a bit you're doing? I just hit my head 18 times. I don't know.
Yoda,
I
is this a bit
I can't tell if you're fucking with me.
The song "Put It to the Test" plays over the entire meeting scene in the Rebel fleet, which works great. Then it cuts to photosynthesis, which is self-explanatory and also a terrible sync. Speed and Velocity plays over the slow descent onto Endor, which is the opposite of what's going on in the actual scene, so that was fantastic. The song "The Ballad of Davy Crockett in Outer Space" played over the Endor speeder chase. There's no significance to that. I just wanted to mention that They Might Be Giants snuck a song about Davy Crockett being an astronaut into an educational album. I just felt like that was
I need
important.
some explanation about the.
It's just Davy Crockett
That's-
being an astronaut.
Yeah, that's about all you need.
All right.
The song "You Probably Get That a Lot," a song about using words so big that when strung together they barely have any meaning, whilst flirting with a woman, plays over the Ewok Leia scene, and it had some undertones.
That's an unfortunate thing.
It was a very unfortunate thing.
Hey, would you like this dress I made from maybe your mom?
It wasn't that part, but still. Which is my favorite headcanon from the show, is just your continued pushing that the dress that she wears is Padme's because Padme got shot into the space, Search for Spock style.
I refuse to accept that a society that seems to have streamlined a lot of parts of living so much, where it's like, a lot of the food they're eating is just like, little cubes and like weird shit, and they're just shooting them in space. They're not burying them. There's no room. Like, people are living in like weird like mega cities, and
The Naboo tradition seems very apparent, and it's cremation.
I mean, most of the galaxy tradition seems like cremation.
Speaking of, you probably get that a lot. It also includes the lyrics "melting down army men to make green tea," which is a good descriptor of just what Ewoks do this entire movie. Old Pine Box played over the Vader Palpatine conversation about Luke being on Endor, and it was fantastic. Endor.
Luke
and the Emperor
on Endor.
Uh-huh.
Sorry,
Get it
I
out.
had to.
I was letting it go, Ben.
I had to go.
I clocked it, but I let it go.
Let it out. Get it out.
No,
I'm
we're good.
I'm good. I'm satisfied.
It was perfect foreshadowing of Palpatine's death. It also plays over to Luke's discovery of Leia's helmet, which really drives home the presumption that she is dead.
How
What?
different of a movie would this have been if they just fucking killed Leia off? This part of the movie. Just fucking kill Leia off. How different of a movie? Like, insane.
Totally
I guess,
insane.
I guess Princess Leia is just fucking dead now. All right.
Harrison Ford walks into George's office. Listen, I said Han should have died, not Leia. Why are you doing this to me?
Like every Harrison Ford movie from the 90s, he's just like, "Are you trying to kill my future wife, you son of a bitch?"
It wouldn't have been a better movie if Leia died, but it'd sure be a more interesting backstage
wouldn't.
story.
It certainly wouldn't have been a better movie. I don't mean to suggest that. I'm just saying, holy fuck, that would have been such a different movie. That would have just changed the tone of this movie so much.
Han, I think Leia was murdered by some Ewoks. The small teddy bears ate her
Well,
alive.
she just like died in like the speeder chase, even like either one of the just some weird fucking off the wall, out of nowhere fucking major character death.
It's like the transition in Last Jedi where Luke is like, "Where's Han?" But this time it's Han Solo talking to Luke after Luke gets back and bailed out off of a speeder that had Leia on it and smacks into it. Where's Leia? Where's Leia? And then that's the scene. It's like, well, we had more of a movie to do, I guess. Let Your Hair Down plays over the tail end of the nearly burned alive scene, and over the retelling of what has happened Ewok scene, and that is transcendent. Not only does it fit well with them being untied, but the nervous nature of the song trying to undo it just fits aesthetically. The song "When Will You Die" plays over Luke Vader on Endor talking, which is fantastic. Also, here's a few lyrics. I'm so tired of your lies, and the evil things you're doing behind my back are the crimes that you have never committed. I doubt it. Sometimes I wonder, when will you die? You're insane. You are bad. You wreck everything you touch, and you're a sociopath. But there's one thing that everyone's wondering: when will you die? Additional lyrics that play towards the end of the scene: school children stay at home when they see you. It was just a really great sync, guys. The song "Protagonist," a song about being trapped in the world as a side character for the benefit of the main character, plays over Warwick capturing the speeder on behalf of the Rebel Alliance. Fantastic sync. The song "Three Might Be Duande" plays during the turning of Luke's scene, which includes some pointed comments about Palpatine. Shaper of Dreams returns to the scene. No diorama could match his drama. A smile that would frighten the blind. The incubus freezes the mind. Fooled by his charm, right off the farm, sound might be Duanda's alarm. Which is just Palpatine. It's just great Palpatine. Marty Beller Mask played over Vader's betrayal, and it was really good because it's a eccentric song. It's a song about basically spending years under a mask with only one person knowing who you are, which is great. Unfortunately, it does have the lyrics because I'm really Whitney Houston on the drums, which makes no sense. But in general, the song was great.
I like to think about Darth Vader just jamming out to Whitney. Just
that would be pretty fantastic. Another thing for we have to make space Whitney Houston in Downtime Darth.
It's like the scene where Kylo's smashing the helmet in the elevator and one of the officers catches him. It's just like the fucking elevator doors open. It's just Vader fucking dancing.
That said, it kicks into "Now I Know," which includes the lyrics wish I could reach my hand right after Vader collapses after throwing Palpatine over the side.
I wish I could reach my hand, but Palpatine force floated it across the room.
Son, I wish I could reach my hand, you know, the one that you cut off. You know, the metal one over there. We share it, remember? How Now Dark Cloud, a song about being murdered by a musket and dying from infection, plays over Vader's demasking and farewell. Fantastic.
Hold on. Murdered by a musket.
Yes.
Like, not murdered with a musket.
Well, it was
murdered by, like, the musket had the intent.
It's finally the answer to the Second Amendment argument. This time the gun did kill someone.
This time the gun did. Yeah, it's more about dying from the infection. Then it cuts into the Fellowship of Hell before even ending the scene, which is jarring but fantastic. That said, Vader dying on the lyrics, "The Fellowship of Hell can't help you now," is quite good. And that's pretty much the best of it, except for the fact that the entire ending of the movie played over the song "Money for Dope," which was great. And that was my experience. We're back, baby. We're back, and the syncs are good. The syncs are so good.
I can't wait for, like, next week when we're sitting here and you're like, Well, the sinks are shit again.
No. Every time, the only times that the syncs have been bad were when there was a kids album or a venue album. And I don't have to deal with those for a while.
Now, me personally, I'm gonna miss Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're through the last of
It's a bright
those.
spot in my.
There's no more of those left, unfortunately. I was really hoping that the Mickey Mouse Hub Clubhouse theme would play over the beginning of Force Awakens. I was holding out hope the entire time, but unfortunately it was not to be. I should have kept in the doubles. Then it maybe could have happened, but it did not. Hurts my feelings. But there you go. That was my watch, and it was fantastic.
I'm worried for you, Jay.
Why? I don't understand why you all seem to think that this is more mentally taxing on me than watching Star
Not that
Wars
it's
every
mentally
week forever.
taxing, just that like it worries me that you have the creative genius to come up with this.
I just looked
It
at one of
worries-
my favorite bands and said they have a lot of albums.
No. If we're being honest, what worries me is that you seem to be enjoying the process. That's what worries
I
me.
don't have to listen to Star Wars for the most part.
I understand the enjoyability.
It's literally distraction. Distraction helps the process.
I noticed something for the first time this watch through.
Oh.
Ooh.
So when Luke is office spacing Darth Vader, hitting him with the lightsaber baseball bat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
He chops off Vader's arm or hand.
Mhm.
And when he's looking at his own hand, I never realized when he like clenches it, you can actually like hear the servos going in his robotic hand.
Oh yeah.
Like they actually put a sound effect in that you could hear it, and I never heard it until today.
Yeah, you can hear it.
It's
I thought
like
you were
he
gonna.
forgets sometimes he's like, wait. Yeah, still robot.
Yeah,
Okay.
Still gotta grease that.
I thought you were gonna say that the lights, because it happens in the same exact shot.
Oh, where it
that
clips?
the lights. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say that. I'm like, that's the third time we brought
No,
it up on
I
the
was
show.
gonna say
As
I
it
know
was
we
new
pointed that out
information.
twice.
Just Luke's just walking around. You can always tell where Luke's been. All the doorknobs are just a little slippery.
What?
Luke must have just oiled up his hand. There he goes. That's fucking. Yeah.
That's another one for the out of context quotes. You can always tell where Luke is because the doorknobs are slippery.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great out of context.
Alright, so fucking I wonder how pissed off Luke was when Force Ghost him sees Kylo Ren bring Rey back to life with the Force heal. And
That's
he just thinks back to when his father died in his arms, telling him there's nothing he could do.
Well, that's one of those things where it kind of seems like they were taking the franchise in a different direction and saying, no, Force Cure isn't a thing that everybody has. It's just kind of like a weird dyad thing.
The Force, listen.
I know.
Like, heals the serpent.
Listen.
Oh no.
Casual consumer. We here at Star Wars HQ have discovered something they discovered decades ago with Superman. If you need the Force to do something for a story, well, the Force can just fucking do that thing. It's as simple as that. Do we need people to come back to life now? Yeah, the Force can do that. Do we need to fucking Sonic the Hedgehog down a hallway? The Force can do that. One time in 9 movies. The Force can just do anything.
Yeah. There's a weird silence after that, as if people were holding back, or as
I don't know where to go from this.
Well, no, it's a good point.
I mean,
but also I prefer it that way.
I was gonna say that's kind of what I like about the Force is it hits that sweet spot of vague yet specific.
Yeah. You can't measure it.
It's intuitive, I guess would be the right thing. Like it just you don't need it explained. It just seems to like make sense most of the
Like-
time.
Like you can sort of understand basic actions that most people would have, but when you're dealing with a powerful character, they can kind of break the rules because you understand that they're a powerful character. Like it doesn't you can measure it in the minute, but you can't measure it in the broad spectrum. Like you can't understand what a Jedi Master or a Sith leader can do with the Force, but you can understand what, your main character can do because you're supposed to relate to them and therefore
I
they
mean-
can't be hyper powerful.
Sure you can, because like we understand that, you know, Anakin Skywalker was more powerful than Darth Vader because Anakin had a midichlorian count of
Oh fuck! It's been
27,800,
so long
and
since we
Darth
talked about
Vader
this
had a
fucking
midichlorian count of 26,830.
Can
It
I-
always goes back to
Can I ask-
midichlorian.
I would love to come back to this midichlorian count list because we haven't talked about it in too long.
Why?
I'd
I
like
don't.
the
I
details
don't want
Because
to.
it's fun. But anyway,
When was it fun for anyone
It's
other
been
than Ben?
it's always been fun. What are you talking about? No. But as far as current canon goes, not Legends, just canon Star Wars universe. By bringing Rey back to life with the Force, I know he fucking died after doing it, but still, after bringing Rey back to life with the Force, does this now make Ben Solo the strongest Jedi to have ever lived?
I would assume not.
Okay,
Because it's-
what else? What did the strongest Jedi to have ever lived do that was crazier than bringing someone
Well,
back to life?
Here's the thing. It's another one of those things where I have to defend Rise of Skywalker, and I don't really want to, but here we are. It's very clear that the only reason why that worked was because of their specific connection.
I don't know. Because
Are you
Rey-
saying I don't know because you don't have a confirmation on that, or are you saying I don't know because you don't know?
Well, I don't know because like Rey uses the ability on the serpent, and to me, like you can resuscitate someone who hasn't been clinically dead for a short window of time. I feel I'm going by resuscitation rules with this.
Yeah, what I meant was not like, hey, let me cure you a little bit. I meant like, you're dead. Let me bring
Like
you back to life
full-on
by giving up my
reanimation.
own. Yeah, like that seems like a force bond thing. That doesn't seem like I can do this with anybody. Shit.
How long? How many books or comics or whatever media that they're going to end up using the character of Rey? Like, how many of those things and how many years do you think it takes for us to get to a point where they're doing a storyline where there's like a piece of Ben Solo inside of her head or something because he used his life force to bring her back to life?
2 years.
2 years?
I really don't think it's
that's
gonna be long.
generous.
I
don't
really don't think
I
it's
think
gonna
it's
be
gonna
long.
be shorter than 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. I really think
I'm honestly surprised they didn't riff off of that immediately.
I really think if they don't do that, then they're gonna have Force Kylo Ren following her around, like in all ancillary content immediately, because they recognize that there's money in the Reylo shippers. It's Disney, baby. It's
There's
Disney,
money in the
baby. If
Reylo
they can
shippers, and
create
also-
content that is specifically for the Reylo shippers, they will flock to it.
Also, Adam Driver is incredible. It really feels like a waste to not have Adam Driver more.
I mean, I assume Adam Driver wouldn't be used in these contexts, but
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, it sucks that they had to kill him off. I feel like they could have gotten a few different directions without just kill. I'm sick of the redemption and then dead storyline in
Yeah.
everything. It's getting real old. Either don't be a coward and don't give me the redemption before killing them, or if you're gonna do the redemption, let them not die. I'm like,
maybe they don't want to bring him back because if they bring him back, he might piss off the people in charge of the venues by like smoking a cigarette in the middle of a premiere, as an example.
Adam Driver's pretty great.
Oh, you mean a 5-minute standing ovation? Man, I want to get out of it. I'm glad you like the movie, but Jesus Christ, I need a cigarette.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not
That's
just
the-
gonna walk
that's
out. I will
one-
smoke in here.
It's one of the most relatable things I've ever seen a celebrity do is just go, holy fuck, they're still going. I need a cigarette. Everyone's staring at me. Oh my god.
Thank you for loving the movie, but I need a cigarette. This is overwhelming. I need a cigarette.
Thank you so much for loving the movie. Please stop looking at me.
Please stop looking at me. Ben, why are you staring off into space?
Because I clicked on a website and my browser is not happy with it.
Oh no. Ben
What?
owes a prince some money.
Listen, he said he was my distant cousin.
Kathleen Kennedy, could you stop forwarding these emails to us, please?
I need you to send me $5,000 to go bowling. Cousin.
We'll go
Cousin!
bowling with cousin
Cousin.
Roman.
Send me $30,000 to go bowling, cousin.
Welcome to Let's Not Talk About Return of the Jedi
Yeah, welcome
every
to
week.
not wanting to talk about Star Wars every week forever.
We've been talking about
we-
Star Wars plenty.
Yeah.
Just
And we
not
talked
this
about we talked about Return of the Jedi too. We did better than most episodes recently.
I have a thought experiment.
Oh, God.
That horrifies me.
I don't think
Um,
anyone's ever started something with I have a thought experiment that hasn't ended in a crime and or human rights violation of some sort.
If now hear me out. If the Ewoks were left to their natural evolutionary progression without outside influence, how long do you think it would take for them to develop pod racing?
Shut this.
That was
I was about to just say shut this down because we're getting close to the Ewok ethics conundrum, and then you just that one
Like a
additional
knife to the
crotch
heart.
shot. That
like a
one
knife to
additional.
the heart.
That is the most evil pod race reference you have ever done, because it both referenced the thing that we're not allowed to talk about anymore because it becomes a fiery debate, and pod racing. That was the sound of Ben putting down his glasses because he's so tickled with himself.
I missed the desk and they landed on the floor. Chris is completely
tuned out. Chris is
disassociating.
on his phone. This is what you've done to us. You've broken the entire show because you had to get a pod racing reference in there, and in order to do so, you
Oh.
had to bring up a subject that we
Man.
killed. What would
That
you like to
was-
bring up now? Would you like to talk about Obama? Would
That
you
was a
like to go
really
back
good-
to 51st Dates? Fuck Rob Schneider, by the way.
That was
Is that
a
where
really
we're at?
good. That was such a good lead-in. Look, I'm fully on board with the pod races. If you can work them in, if you can catch us by surprise, like as opposed to.
You mother.
Oh,
I want him gone!
I want him dead.
I want his
You hear
bread.
me?
I want his family dead.
That's where,
I want his house burned to the ground.
that's where I was going, and I felt it was too harsh before I finished the sentence. Ben, I love you, but I want to hurt you.
This is the first one I'm signing off on. Keep up the good work, buddy.
Don't
Keep up the
Don't
good-
give him
I-
the satisfaction because it's only going to get worse.
I feel like today was a milestone.
That was a good.
It was certainly a milestone.
That was a good. That was really good. That was a good bit, sport.
You got to stop calling him sport.
Are you winning, son?
Are you winning, son? Are you winning me, boy?
Well, so like as noted before, I just kind of chill out in our Discord voice channel to see if people want to like come in and chit chat while I play like Halo. It's always Halo.
It's always Halo.
And every time Chris pops in, he'll just be like, "Hey, are you winning, son?" And then immediately follow that up with Pirate Palpatine going, "Are you winning me, boy?"
Are you winning me, boy?
Ugh,
Jay has checked out. She's on her other
Jay,
computer.
outta here.
No, I'm looking through notes, desperately trying to talk about something other than whatever the fuck this has been.
Star Wars: Return of the Jedi.
Is a movie that exists.
The one where Yoda just fucking dies.
I absolutely love that in this movie, Luke walks in. He's in the Emperor's throne room. Like, he's got a big fucking dick, and he like throws his lightsaber down. He's like, "I'm a Jedi." While he like totally doesn't understand the scope of what the Jedi were 19 fucking years ago.
That's my favorite part of like old EU Luke is his perpetual panic attack as he begins to realize what the Jedi used to be. It's fantastic.
Whatever looks back like, oh well, they weren't the bad guys, but goddamn, were they not the good guys?
One of my favorite, not talked about a lot, Thrawn books. Written by the man himself. I can't remember his name though.
Timothy
Please
Zahn?
help me. Yeah, Timothy Zahn. One of my favorite forgotten Timothy Zahn books, Survivor's Quest. It was a book that took place right before the Yuuzhan Vong War, and it was essentially Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade Skywalker being invited to the Chiss Empire to try to settle down public relations between the two. And through the process, Luke Skywalker fights a droid decal, which is just fucking awesome. I still have a little bit of cool Star Wars stuff left in me.
Does he Sonic the Hedgehog down a hallway?
I think he might actually.
10 out of 10.
I don't know. I remember there being a lot of running. That said, the book is essentially Luke Skywalker finally being fully confronted with what the Jedi were through the lens of a Timothy Zahn book, which is fantastic. Really underrated book. It also is a sequel to Outbound Flight, the book that I've talked about as a great between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones book. It essentially is the Chiss Empire going, I know you dealt with Thrawn. I know he had something to do with Jorah Sabath. We know who that person was. We have the remnants of Outbound Flight. It was a Jedi project. Why don't you come over, take a look at it? And I believe the remnant had a droid decal in it somewhere or something like that. That's what the book was. Good book, but it is essentially about Luke Skywalker having a panic attack about what the Jedi used to be. Because even 20 years after the Battle of Yavin, he's still like, what the fuck? How did I accidentally get in charge of this cult?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you got to imagine there's plenty of, like, him just reading through the fucking ancient Jedi text, just, like, flipping pages, like, Jesus, what do you mean they did that? What? Like,
page turners, they were nuts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm picturing, like, Yoda's thought process as he's, like, fucking talking to Luke after Yoda explodes the tree, like, good thing it may have been you did not read those books.
I didn't.
Now all of our crimes are erased, and fire and fucking.
Those books you didn't read, but you have notes inside of because you did read them, but you didn't read them.
Yeah, because Rise of Skywalker was like, oh, he loved the sacred Jedi text so much that he read them and he literally wrote inside the margins of the book, to help us. Fucking hell. But yeah, I didn't make a recommendation last week for the first time ever, so Survivor's Quest, do it. You said you had a rant, Ben.
Oh, it was the Luke seeing Kylo Ren bring Rey back to life and being like, hold up. Like, just in my head, I picture him being so fucking livid about that. Just because Darth Vader deadass and I know Vader doesn't know at this point, but Vader deadass tells him, like, there's nothing you can do for me now.
Well, that's...
Or the line is, there's no way to stop that now. And Luke's like, but you'll die! Which, the way he delivers that line is still my favorite.
Yeah, it's so good. This is the movie of Luke just watching people fucking die in front of him, yeah. It's like, not anymore, for the love of God.
Everyone's dying in front of it. It really could be the return of Luke's trauma. That's what this movie is.
The thing I'm waiting to see is if at some point down the line they do Ahsoka and Luke meeting. Because you can't do that without Star Wars finally doing what they're, being cowards about and having to acknowledge, like, oh, because of what we've done with Clone Wars and the character of Ahsoka, oh, we've made Anakin Skywalker have a lot more reason to be pissed off in Revenge of the Sith than he had going into it.
Yeah.
It's a very different movie now if you watched all the way through Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's a very strange movie when you realize Anakin was actually somewhat of a father figure to someone else who got very, very wronged by the
Who got
Jedi.
very wronged, and then this movie happens like very soon after.
Yeah, it's like what 20, 21 years I want to say. I forget what year Ahsoka got.
Well, no,
you're thinking
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, no, I'm saying like
Oh, you're talking
when
about
all
his fall. Okay.
19.
yeah, like when the stuff goes down. Yeah,
I thought you meant like the actual climax of this movie.
19. I think it's 19 BBY. It's
so I'm
like the
saying like
beginning of 19 BBY.
it's gonna be so weird for it's like they're gonna have to do some acknowledging of like Ahsoka being like, hey, like Anakin was kind of a shithead, but also the Jedi fucking sucked, and the Jedi kind of made him what he was, like.
Well, that seems like I haven't watched the series, but it seems like Ahsoka confronting spoilers for Rebels. Ahsoka confronting Vader in Rebels was kind of like this healing moment where they tried to meet in the middle of being like, yeah, Ahsoka was obviously right, and Anakin was influenced by that in Revenge of the Sith, but also Ahsoka would never fucking approve of what he
Yes.
did ever in a million
Yes.
years. So
That's
it's
the
not
thing.
even
I'm
that you
certainly
can't
not
even use
making
that excuse.
I'm certainly not making the argument that it absolves Anakin of guilt
It
or
gives him
like,
more reason, I
it
think, is
it
the
makes him more sympathetic though of like distrusting the Jedi and being influenced so easily by Palpatine.
because I'm
Oh
still in the
yeah,
thought
shit.
process. I haven't experienced it enough to really internalize it, so I'm still in the thought process of without that context when I watch it. I know it in the back of my head, but it's not something real and vivid that I've experienced, and therefore it doesn't translate into the watch. There's a difference between knowing something happened and seeing it unfold.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
that's
I just think he's fucking ridiculous. The only excuse
Yeah.
that I can make for him is that he's been groomed from being a little child by Palpatine, and even that he's still kind of like, what the fuck is wrong with you,
Yeah.
dude?
Well, that's the thing. Like years ago, it would have just been like, oh, well, it's a side cartoon. It ultimately means nothing. But like Ahsoka showing up in The Mandalorian and also Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian, like the TV shows and stuff are way more impactful than they were in the past,
Well,
like even
especially shows like the Mandalorian that are doing
yeah,
this kind of MCU style
yeah,
linking the
exactly.
universe together.
So that's the thing. So it's like, yeah, it totally makes me go into Revenge of the Sith now with that context from Clone Wars.
I mean that's part of their Disney Plus is operating at a loss. So, and they knew that going in. So, the reason why all of this ancillary Star Wars content is so important to the universe around it is because Disney Plus best $7.99 in the biz. They're operating at a loss for our benefit. But realistically, it's because they want it to operate at a profit for someday. And if you build that importance, then it's offering at a profit. But also, I think I still hurt over the loss of the EU. It still sucks. I've accepted it, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
It's better that the current additional content is treated equally, which it generally is, because it assures that it can't be erased. So even if like they made a terrible TV show, it's better that it's being treated like a fucking cinema release.
I think at some point in the future, I think the people who have been not the people who have been assholes about it because they can still go fuck themselves, but like people like us who are very vocal about being upset about the EU being thrown out, but aren't sending people death threats and shit on
Like
Twitter.
we're just kind of rolling with the punches.
Yeah, exactly. Like we'll bitch about it, but ultimately, like, yeah, whatever. I think people are gonna start to look back on that more favorably now that that kind of decision making is leaking over into other stuff. more rapidly. Like, I mean, it's a weird example, but it's a pretty close comparison. Like that old CW show Gossip Girl, they just completely rebooted it for like HBO Max, and it's not like a sequel. Like they're completely fucking rebooting it, a show that ended like 10 years ago at most. So it's like they're gonna just start doing this with everything pretty soon. We're gonna get like rebooted Harry Potter or something within the next 10
Well, it's
years,
already
which like
happening. Yeah.
yeah, that's so I'm like I wonder if when that becomes so widespread and it's happening to bigger, more mainstream projects, like I wonder if people will look back like, oh yeah, no, those Star Wars people, like I get it now. I get why they were upset that all of these things that they knew and the stories that had been made one day it's like, oh, that doesn't count because we're doing this new
Well,
thing.
and that's like, I'm not. I used to be into comic books a bit, but I'm not too into comic books. But that's like regularly, like MCU and DC will just revamp their universe. Like
Yeah.
New 52 was like a whole new thing, and they did a bunch of stupid shit
Yeah.
that
Well,
a
I
lot of
think
people didn't really like.
I think a more apt comparison here is the MCU compared to the comics. Cuz that's what's happening. And it will continue to happen because that's the direction that Hollywood is going in, especially as Disney controls more and more of the market because, they control so much of it.
They
The
control
idea
it.
the idea of the idea of repurposing old stories, and that's why I think you're gonna see like Thrawn trilogy, but with Ahsoka, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing,
Yep.
because the continued market is taking content that already exists and reimagining it, and that's why I think we're gonna see like redone versions of the EU, which I'm fine with, but it is kind of
Yeah.
like by comparison, the EU doesn't exist anymore, but the comic book industry is not better off for the existence of the MCU.
No.
And it's not necessarily the MCU's fault. It has a lot been the fault of comic book industries not being able to capitalize on it. But at the same time, there's still mandates that come down to them to prioritize characters or kind of shelf characters based off of what's happening in the MCU. It's difficult because when you repurpose something and build off of it and call it like that old legends thing, like Greek myth and stuff like that, you are harming the original version as it becomes harder and harder to
Yeah.
find them.
I mean, the MCU's doing that exactly right now. Like, didn't they just switch over all the Fox X-Men stuff and like, what are they calling that now? Isn't it? It's not Legends. It's something like they've dubbed it something.
I have no idea. I know
Like
that all that
it
stuff's
has an
getting put on
overarching
Disney Plus.
banner. Yeah, I don't remember what the hell they're calling it, but um, yeah. I mean, we bring up the EU a lot less lately on the show because like we did it so much when we first started, and I think talking about it, I think we kind of got to a point where we realized like, yeah, we miss it and it sucks, but also like, it is what it is.
Yeah, like I came to that point years ago. Like it's just kind of like those books still exist, and I really wish they'd be expanded on, but the time has moved on. There's other interesting shit out there. If I didn't watch Star Wars every week forever, there would be more than enough things for me to indulge in. Like,
Well, and what I think is cool, and it's a little off topic, but still kind of relevant to what we're talking about, is we got, I didn't watch it yet, but we got a preview into that Star Wars Visions, which is interesting because it looks like it's not quite canon stuff based on
No.
what I've seen, which I'm excited for because like I know the one story is supposed to be imagining these two Jedi twins who are agents of an empire. I don't know if it's the empire, but like agents of a galactic empire, which like I love it because it's that weird off the wall, just batshit stuff.
mm-hmm.
Like they basically gave the writers the keys to the Star Wars universe and were like, fucking run with it.
Well, I've told my wife a couple of times now. I'm not going to talk about it at all. I'm just in passing. We've been watching Loki, which is out currently. I'm not going to talk about it at all. So no spoilers. I've told my wife, I'm like, it's really good because it feels like something Marvel would have just let someone do an 8-issue run of in the mid 2000s. Like, hey, this is fun. It's not necessarily canon, maybe, but like, yeah, whatever, 8 issues, go for it. You got a writer, you got an artist set up for it. Yeah, put it together, whatever. And then it's like a cult classic, like that's what that feels like. And I'm excited to see them start doing that with Star Wars, letting people just do smaller side stories, just run with weird shit.
Well, because that's like, some of my favorite comic book content was just like shit that was just like, let's do something like just ridiculous and like rule of cool kind of ridiculous, not like, let's have Superman and Hail Doomsday and make them one being ridiculous. Like,
again, Superman has whatever power the writers need him to have that week.
I love the Exiles run that Marvel did in the mid 2000s that I think they brought back. It was just bringing a bunch of random characters that they explored or sometimes didn't explore in like multiple multiverses and putting them in a series where they just die over and over again, like saving various realms of existence. It was a great weird run. Like, I'm into that shit. I really love off the wall concepts.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why Mandalorian's been so good, because it's classic Star Wars EU formula of just like, here's this kind of cool generic Star Wars space cowboy-ish spaghetti western character. He's badass but generic, and you can kind of project multiple emotions on him, and we can do whatever we need him to do, and boom, you have a story that works. You throw in some cool fucking cameos and some Easter eggs, and you're good. Cute little marketing ploy.
I also think part of the reason
it is Star Wars at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Major merchandise needs his cut, baby.
I also think part of the reason why, the Visions the project came up was because it does look like there's going to be a pod race inside of that show.
Yeah.
Because there's one shot of Jabba in the area above the pod race circuit on Tatooine. I don't know if there's going to actually be a pod race, but I did mention Ben as soon as I saw it. Like, looks like there's. Yeah, he put his hands behind the back of his head and he's shaking and dancing. I don't know.
Fucking Gizmo shirt over there.
I'm slightly afraid, and also think it's deeply hilarious that they're only going to show like a couple shots from Phantom Menace's pod race, because that episode's supposed to be like a tribute to Tatooine. I would feel really bad if you got your hopes up for it and then it only ended up being that. But also, I would think it's deeply hilarious because you torture us over it.
If I get one shot of a pod racer, I'm happy.
I mean,
it doesn't matter. It could just be a fucking like animated shot of the scene in Phantom Menace, and Ben would still be happy about it.
I'd still be fucking loving it.
Speaking of Ben,
it could be a background piece of dialogue in like a bar in Mandalorian, someone being like, "Yeah, her rumor Darth Vader was in a pod race when he was a kid," and
that would be dope.
Ben God, I
might have an orgasm.
The mental image of literal Darth Vader in a pod race, which I'm pretty sure we brought up before on the show.
Yeah.
I just now need that picture of Ben with the pod racer background with a Darth Vader photoshopped head.
I think Jay has a screenshot somewhere.
No, but with the Darth Vader head photoshopped over yours.
God.
Speaking of things that makes Ben orgasm, weird Wikipedia.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Bosnas.
Chris had such a visceral reaction.
I was trying not to spit a mouthful of fucking wine all over my computer. Fucking A.
Oh no.
Oh no. Ben looks... Peek behind the curtain here. Ben looks actually concerned right now. What's going on, buddy? What'd you find, Sport?
Calling him Sport.
Is
it the Wikipedia article for breasts again?
No.
Is it pod racing?
Weird Wikipedia might be dead.
Is it pod racing?
No.
Oh, okay. They moved the Weird Wikipedia reorganized this week.
Are you calling the whole website Weird Wikipedia now?
Or did I just say Weird Wikipedia?
You Weird Wikipedia had to say.
Wikipedia reorganized this past week. So usually random page was under the Explore tab.
Yeah, okay.
And now it's just main page discussion, all pages, community, and shop.
By the way, Wikipedia, fucking, you're doing mid-article ads now? You really want to make my life a living hell?
But now it's just under the navigation tab, so that was my distress.
I thought you got pod racing. I was gonna lose my shit.
The show's over. The show's over.
Yeah.
Taking my ball and going home at that point.
The show must go. Come on, guys, let's go play ball.
Shut the fuck up and find a weird Wikipedia article.
I got one.
All right, I'm almost 30. It's time to go outside.
No, it was. They say that in the fucking pod racing scene in Phantom Menace.
Not during the pod race.
No, when they're testing the pod racer. Yes, I caught it, Ben. You fucking bastard.
Today on Weird Wikipedia is Austrian?
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 Australian?
G'day, mate.
Austrian was a mineral found on the planet Hargiva, which is just a blast to say.
Found on the planet Hakuna Matata.
Absorbed great amount of heat, leading to its use in armor plating for stormtroopers and other Imperial soldiers. It was also
good. So it's useless.
Yeah. Just like stormtrooper armor is more like plastoid, so like it was also used for blades and melee weapons during the Dark Wars. They were multiplied tenfold when Katerian Altronel, Jay's gonna have some fun fucking edits, discovered that crystalline manipulation, blah blah blah, of certain trace elements modified it, making it able to freeze things instantaneously. That's some like fucking enchanted weapon bullshit.
It's something that gets mentioned in Knights of the Old Republic too, because it's like
there it is.
Something they use basically as an explanation of why weapons can do shit. It's an RPG MacGuffin.
Yeah, that's what it is, because it seems like it was mostly explored in Star Wars Galaxies, which doesn't explain anything. It's just a game where you do whatever.
Yeah, it's an MMO.
So, yeah, I miss Star Wars Galaxies. But yeah, this is RPG shit. That's what it is.
RPG shit.
RPG
shit would be a good t-shirt.
RPG shit.
I'm sure it already exists.
This week on Merch Corner.
Something totally unrelated.
Some dude's Redbubble page.
Buy the shirt, the RPG shit shirt on Etsy.
We're not actually plugging anything. If y'all find something by that name, we knew nothing of it.
We are totally unaffiliated with such products.
Whoever did that.
We're totally unaffiliated with the RPG shirt guy. Not friend of the show, RPG shirt guy.
This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. Join us next week for our 1 year anniversary.
Party!
We can have a party?
We're gonna have a party.
Oh, we have to come in our formal wear.
We have to come in our... I'm not coming in my formal wear. I'm not getting dressed up for this. But I love you all. See you next week for our 1 year anniversary. This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. Good night.
Whee! It felt right. It felt...
Did it?
It felt right. Yes, it did. I'm proud of whatever the fuck that was.
Still stand by that we? Okay.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that episode, why not like and subscribe? Also, share it with a couple friends. Bring them into this hellscape that we've done to ourselves. You can catch brand new episodes every single Wednesday on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, pretty much every other platform you get your podcasts on. If you'd like to extend the suffering, you can catch us over on twitter.com at SWEWF. We post direct links to brand new episodes every week as soon as we upload them, and you can catch the occasional other dumb Star Wars take, and who wouldn't want that? Catch you guys later.